Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Monday Night Raw results and Superstar spoilers. Well, today would have been Randy Savage's birthday, yesterday, November 15th, 1952. He died on May 20th, 2011 after suffering a heart attack while driving. And he was finally inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year after a long wait. The late Big Daddy, a.k.a. Shirley Crabtree Jr., was born November 14, 1930, died of a stroke December 2nd, 1997 at the age of 67. Matt Bloom turned 43 years old on Saturday. He's also known as Albert, A-Train, Lord Tensai, Prince Albert, and several other names during his in-ring career. WWE has fired Billy Gunn, a.k.a. Monty Sop, from his role as NXT trainer. Thanks to the news from Dave Meltzer of F4W Online. He reported that Gunn failed a drug test while competing as a power lifter on July 25th. Billy Gunn last week, after tested positive for an elevated level of testosterone at a powerlifting competition back in July. Some of Gunn's first post-WWE appearances will come for England's Preston City Wrestling Road to Glory 2016 events in Evoke in this coming February in 2016. Gunn had his share of ups and downs with the WWE over the years. He spoke out negatively about Triple H in the past, only to be rehired by him in 2012 to work as an agent, trainer, and occasional in-ring performer. We lost another former pro wrestler, Nick Bockwinkle, this week. He died at the age of 80 on November 15th. My condolences go to his family and friends. Longtime Star Tribune sports columnist Patrick Rousey wrote on a column about Nick Bockwinkle. The column features host from pro wrestling historian George Shire, one of the best and smartest when it came to promotion. Shire said Bockwinkle, Nick and Ray Stevens were a tag team, and they brought in Heenan as a manager in 1974. Neither of them really needed help in interviews, but they recognized that Bobby the Brain Heenan made them more despicable to the fans. Read the full blog at StarTribune.com. JR shared his memories of Bockwinkle in a new blog. It's another sad day to awaken, but thank God I did. Like my friend Nick Bockwinkle, who passed away Sunday at the age of 80. Bockwinkle was a top pro wrestler and legend. Has it that Nick was trained by his dad and Luthez, and that Nick had his first official pro match versus his when Nick was only 16 years old. Nice way to break in, huh? With a family friend, essentially a godfather who also just happened to be the best in the world in his profession. Read his full blog at jrsbarbecue.com. Bruce is a great sports columnist, and it will be interesting to hear what fun memories he shares regarding Bockwinkle and AWA during his radio segments on 1500ESPN.com. For those who have missed it, Bockwinkle died from an undisclosed cause at the age of 80 on Saturday night in Las Vegas. WWE officials have shown interest in CMLL and NJPW star La Sombra, as well as a few other Lucha Libre stars. Chris Zellner of the Lucha Report says that there are a lot of interesting happenings with La Sombra right now, as there are rumors of possible dealings with New Japan or WWE. Sombra reportedly spoke to TV Azteca this past Thursday and denied he signed with WWE, but said it is his ultimate dream to compete there. Sombra worked Arena Mexico this past weekend and once again denied signing with WWE. It appeared a few weeks back that Sombra would be signing with New Japan, and he was seen talking with New Japan Pro Wrestling Naoki Sugabayashi and Tiger Hattori this past weekend. Sombra currently has no bookings, so it's possible that he will reveal who he is signed with soon. Maryland Championship Wrestling general manager announced this is TV on demand, so you can watch Maryland Championship Wrestling anywhere you go on your computer, iOS, Android devices, Apple TV, Chromecast, and more. Visit mcwragetv.com and sign up for their introductory price for only $4.99 a month. The price will hold for the rest of 2015 and continue for anyone that signs up before the new year, guaranteed. From the last few months alone, watch footage of Ric Flair, the late Roddy Piper, Booker T, Mick Foley, Jake the Snake Roberts, John Hennigan, a.k.a. Morrison, Sean Waltman, The Boogeyman, Mickey James, Matt Hardy, Colt Cabana, Patrick Clark from Tough Enough, and so many more. New content is added regularly, including the latest events, at least 2 past events every month, and new original content. And it's just in the beginning of moving Maryland Championship Wrestling forward, said MCW General Manager Phil Stamper. Will also be coming to TV via Roku in the near future. For more info on MCW, including this weekend's event, visit MarylandWrestling.com. MCW uses a good mix of local talent and big names on their shows and run a lot of their results, so you can get a feel of their lineups by checking out their results in the miscellaneous live events section. WGN America has resurfaced as a potential TV partner for TNA. As reported in a .NET Weekly audio show, WGN America and TNA were believed to have had discussions prior to TNA Impact Wrestling moving from Spike TV to Destination America. WGN America was once the home of WWE superstars as well as a Wrestling with Death reality show. At this point, one can only assume that TNA is or will be taking with a number of potential television partners. As Ixachar stated in an interview that the company's run with Destination America is contracted through the end of 2015, WGN America has been mentioned by multiple sources as a possibility, but it's unclear whether that's an actual deal in place. Ring of Honor color commentary underwent major neck surgery on Monday. Today, Steve Corino stated on Ring of Honor TV that he needed to have at least 3 discs fused. He provided a brief update on his Twitter page following surgery, thanking friends and fans for their concerns. Feeling rough, but I have the best wife ever taking care of me, Corino wrote on Twitter.com/King Torino. I read that Corino's contract with Ring of Honor expired before the end of the year, so hopefully we haven't seen the last of him on color commentary. He had so much of the weekly shows, and the company would be foolish to not re-sign him. Most importantly, here's wishing him the best of luck as he recovers from major surgery. As Ring of Honor's new TV home, Comet TV, launched on October 31st, and BroadcastingCable.com reported prior to the launch that it would be available in 60% of the company and 65 million homes. The early markets listed in the story included New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Philadelphia, Seattle, Denver, St. Louis, San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, Washington, D.C., Boston, Pittsburgh, and Houston. This is not a cable network, but rather something that is being shown on existing broadcasting stations. For what it's worth, Destination America was listed as being available in 57 million homes as of February. As previously noted, Ring of Honor will finish the Destination America run on November 25th and will debut on Comet TV on December 2nd at 11 p.m. Central Time. So, go to look for it at that particular time. late night. Lillian Garcia has released a song that she wrote paying tribute to the late Eddie Guerrero after he passed away 10 years ago. And it's called Live On. And here's a link for it. WWE has announced that tickets for the Fastlane pay-per-view will go on sale to the general public on Saturday at 9 a.m. this coming weekend. The event will be held on February 21st, 2016 in Cleveland, Ohio at the Quicken Loans Arena. Podcast Like Father, Like Son with Steve Gray Eyes, a.k.a. Islas, the Navajo Kid, the Navajo Warrior. Hosted by Jeremy and Sam McPeak. Interview available at itunes.apple.com / I'll just put the link there for you. On work with comments on working with John Cena. John and I have had quite a few matches. When he first started, I met him at a promotion called Ultimate Pro Wrestling in Santa Ana, California. He was brand new, and his character was called the Prototype. Some reservation tours were coming up of North Arizona, and I approached John about, would you be interested in coming on? It would be a good experience, of course. You could see something in this guy. He looked like he was chiseled out of granite. He had a real good look to him, a great attitude, so he came along, and we were wrestling each other almost every night on these tours. We had a singles match, and then Mike Knox would interfere, and we come back and have a tag team match later that night. It was a lot of fun, and it was not the same people you would see at the UPW shows, so it was a good way for him to get that experience wrestling in front of all kinds of crowds. This next link will show the video from Xavier Woods' WWE endorsed Up Up Down Down YouTube channel featuring Seth Rollins versus Curtis Axel in the next round of the Madden tournament semifinal round. It looks like Nikki Bella may be back in action sometime in December. An interview recorded on November the 4th that was released this past week. Paige told the Gorilla Position podcast that Nikki would probably be out of action for 6 more weeks, depending on how she recovers. Former WWE superstar Eugene, Nick Dinsmore, got married to his longtime girlfriend in Las Vegas this past weekend. And I'll show a photo with whichever side I can get it on. Congratulations to the newlyweds. Lucha Underground taped its first episode for the second season this weekend, which aired on El Rey in January. Will be airing in January. And here's the spoilers. So far, it's only 2 weeks that are taped. Taping number 1, Vampiro kicked off the show and said Dario's whereabouts are unknown, and Katrina is now in charge. Mil Muertes watched the show from the throne on the stage. Dragon, Famous B, and Bengala defeated Cage, Cisco, and Cortez Castro, while Cage turned on Castro and Cisco afterwards. King Cuerno defeated Phoenix with a Gift of the Gods title on the line. Ivelisse defeated Angelico and Son of Havoc to earn a shot at the Lucha Underground title. Mil Muertes came down and Ivelisse got her title shot. Angelico and Havoc were at ringside for her until the Disciples took them out. Muertes goes to finish Ivelisse, but Prince Puma runs in and carries her off. Puma cuts a promo on Muertes until Pentagon Jr. runs out to a big pop and attacked Muertes to end the first taping. Taping number 2, Johnny Mundo defeated Killshot. Mundo cut a promo after the match about how Alberto El Patron is gone after the beating he took at Ultimate Lucha. Mundo is now a heel and wants a shot at the gold, but is interrupted by Cage, and they have words. Mac defeated PJ Black. Now, that's Justin Gabriel's debut for Lucha Underground. As is going PJ Black, and also Jeff Jarrett's company, GFW. Pentagon and Puma defeated the Disciples in a handicap match when there was tension between Pentagon and Puma. And that concluded the second set of tapings. Ring of Honor Survival of the Fittest night 1. Results from Milwaukee, Wisconsin at Turner Hall. Thanks to Blake Riley on Twitter. Also, BlakeandSalShow.com said the attendance was about 800 to 900 people. They opened up more seats, including the balcony. Then in the past, the ring announcer was Scarlett. Kevin Kiley was on commentary with a variety of color commentators. Christopher Daniels beat Kenny King, Hanson, and Mark Briscoe in a Survival of the Fittest qualifying match when Daniels pinned Briscoe. Roger Strong defeated Cedric Alexander in a Survival of the Fittest qualifying match. Silas Young with Beer City Bruiser defeated Dalton Kessel and Adam Page with BJ Whitmer in a Survival of the Fittest qualifying match when Young pinned Kessel. After the match, Silas and Bruiser beat down Dalton. The refs had to come out to break up the melee. Matt Taven and Michael Bennett with Maria defeated Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish to retain the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship. The Kingdom retained when Taven pinned O'Reilly after Adam Cole interfered. Fish and O'Reilly nearly won the belts at one point, but Maria pulled Todd Sinclair out of the ring. Afterwards, Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly got into a brawl in the agents, and refs broke it up. Then they had intermission. Kevin Kelly was in the ring. Mr. Wrestling number 3, Steve Corino in a mask, was in the commentary booth. Jay Briscoe defeated Frankie Kazarian, Raymond Rowe, and Rhett Titus in the Survival of the Fittest qualifying match. Briscoe pinned Titus. Adam Cole cut a promo on Kyle O'Reilly. And Michael Elgin defeated Adam Cole and Moose with Stockley Hathaway in a Survival of the Fittest qualifying match. Kyle O'Reilly came down to distract Adam Cole while Cole was on the top rope. After the match, Cole superkicked a ref that looked like Carrot Top for trying to bring him ice packs. The ring crew came out after the match to fix something under the ring. The show continued with the broken board in the middle of the ring. This should be interesting when you see it on TV. ACH defeated Matt Seidel in a Survival of the Fittest qualifying match and in the deciding match of their best of 5 series. AJ Styles and the Young Bucks defeated Jay Diesel, and Donovan D-Jack with Truth Martini and Taylor Hendricks in the corner. Styles pinned Lethal. After the match, AJ posed with the belt and then just placed it over Lethal's chest. Lethal closed the show by calling out AJ, setting up Final Battle. The Survival of the Fittest finals will be Christopher Daniels versus Roger Strong versus Silas Young versus Jay Briscoe versus Michael Elgin versus ACH. Second report, very brief. Kevin Kelly and BJ Whitmer sat in on commentary. Dark match. Cheeseburger defeated the Outlaw. Christopher Daniels defeated Mark Briscoe, Hanson, and Kenny King in the qualifying match for the Survival of the Fittest. Roger Strong defeated Cedric Alexander in the qualifying match. Silas Young defeated Dalton Castle and Adam Page in the qualifying match. Young won after interference from Beer City Bruiser. Matt Taven and Michael Bennett with Maria defeated Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly to retain the Ring of Honor tag titles after interference from Adam Cole. The Masked Mr. Wrestling number 3 sat in on the commentary for the second half of the show. Jerry Briscoe defeated Rhett Titus, Ray Rowe, and Frankie Kazarian in a Survival of the Fittest qualifying match. The Unbreakable Michael Elgin defeated Adam Cole and Moose in a Survival of the Fittest qualifying match. Elgin won after an interference from Kyle O'Reilly. ACH defeated Matt Seidel in the qualifying match to win the best of 5 series. AJ Styles and the Young Bucks defeated Jay Diesel, and Donovan D-Jock when AJ Styles pinned Jay Lethal. Tomorrow's Survival of the Fittest finals, which will be Christopher Daniels versus Roger Strong and Silas Young versus Jay Briscoe versus Michael Elgin versus ACH. Former tag team, WWE tag team, the Beverly Brothers, made an appearance with the big event 9 in Elmhurst, New York this past weekend. I'll show you a picture of them, and they're also with the former ring announcer, Justin Roberts. That's Wayne Bloom and Mike Enos, if you didn't know. Holly Holm defeated Ronda Rousey by second round TKO to win the UFC Women's Bantamweight Championship on Saturday at UFC 193 in Melbourne, Australia. Rousey was knocked down with a kick to the head. Holm followed up with a punch on the mat, and then the referee stepped in and stopped the fight. Rousey appeared at WrestleMania 31, and it's no secret that she and WWE would like to work together again at some point. Well, comments from Taz, former WWE, ECW, and TNA wrestler, claimed in the latest installment of his radio show that the finish between that match of Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm at UFC was fixed. And here's what he had to say. Why are some people not seeing this? This has been done in the wrestling industry for years. A guy or a girl is going to take a break or go away, or has an injury that they have to tend to, whatever the reasons are, and they are a champion. You take the championship off of them. You don't want your champion sitting at home making a movie such as Roadhouse 2. That's what he says. Well, Roadhouse 2 was filmed years ago. Or whatever Rousey's going to do. Or whatever Rousey, if she just needs a break, which she's earned. This girl's earned it. But you don't want that person sitting at home for 5 to 6, 7 months with the title. It's bad for business. Take the belt off her. If you look at the actual KO, now she did get nailed. Rousey with several shots before the finish of the fight. Nothing that was like, oh my God. But she got popped a few times. But if you look at the actual knockout, as Rousey, she went for a kind of lazy punch or something. Not lazy, but she kind of missed. And she spun to turn around. Her back was kind of turned to Holm. As she slowly turned, a high round kick, I believe it was the left foot or the left leg of Holm, caught Rousey, dropped Rousey, and then Holm grounded punches for 3 shots. Boom, boom, boom. Ref steps in. Fight's over. New champion, Holly Holm. Congratulations, Holly. As Taz continued, I'm telling you right now, the whole series was the work. And I'm not sure who was in on it and who wasn't, but I know this much. The ref probably wasn't in on it. Maybe he was. I don't know. Rousey was in on it. And again, this was all my opinion. Holm might not have been on it, but it's just my opinion. The Rock posted his debut match into pro wrestling right here on Instagram. Dark match main event for Raw was advertised as Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Kane, and Ryback versus Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, Luke Harper, and Eric Rowan. Well, Matt Bellamy sent the Monday night sent results from the Superstars taping. Spoilers. Brie Bella defeated Naomi with a clean with her finisher. Titus O'Neil defeated Bo Dallas with his finisher. Pre-show for Raw. Scott Stanford, Corey Graves, and David Otunga hosted the show from the WWE studios in Stamford, Connecticut. Stanford noted that Otunga had a couple of charity winners watching from a studio. Otunga praised the charity, and he likes to lay low on charity work. Stanford hyped that there will be footage of Otunga and the winners on this week in WWE. Go to the network. Undertaker and Kane were officially announced for Raw. Raw includes a contract signing for the Charlotte vs. Paige match at Survivor Series. The host discussed Roman Reigns rejecting Triple H's offer to become the new chosen one for the Authority. Video package recapping their first round of the title tournament. And the host spoke about Kalisto being a potential dark horse to win the tournament. Graves noted that he worked all over the world before arriving in WWE. However, Graves and Otunga both picked Alberto Del Rio to beat him in round 1. Otunga's bracket was shown on the screen. He has Roman Reigns defeating Dean Ambrose in the finals to win the title. Graves picked Cesaro to beat Dean Ambrose in the finals to win the title. Stanford predicted Callisto that will upset Alberto Del Rio tonight on Raw. Cesaro was interviewed by phone and spoke about the tournament and said winning the title is within his reach. He said it's accumulation of all his hard work and it's representing all the hard workers around the world. Cesaro was then asked about strategy for his match with Reigns. He said he wants to prove he is the best wrestler and he can beat him. Otunga asked Cesaro if Cesaro would have accepted an offer from Triple H had he issued it to him rather than Reigns. Cesaro said no. He said that the fans picked him and he's representing the Cesaro section. Graves noted that Cesaro is leading a poll for who the fans want to see win the tournament. He said the fan support proves to him that he is right in his approach and the hard work and wrestling still matter. Cesaro said he represents people who don't get chances because people don't like where they are from. Then a fan asked if Cesaro would be a good sport and shake the hands of Reigns if he loses. Cesaro said the fan will have to watch Raw and find out. The host discussed the Charlotte vs. Paige match for the Divas Championship at Survivor Series and the contract signing on Raw. Undertaker and Kane versus Wyatt family feud was discussed. Then they closed the show with their bold predictions. The Druids turned sheep used in a segment on Raw with Kane that opened up the show. The Undertaker and the Wyatt family on Raw from Greenville were made up of indie wrestlers from North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee area, covered in this first segment of Raw. As the Raw opens up with a roster on the stage, the French flag is on the big screen with the Eiffel Tower inspired peace sign and that has gone viral this weekend. Lillian Garcia asks everyone to stand as we get a moment of silence for the victims of the terror attacks in Paris, France, this past Friday night. As we go to Raw opening video, we come back and we've got Michael Cole, JBL, and Byron Saxton at ringside. Then they hype the World Heavyweight Title Tournament and go over tonight's matches. The Druids start chanting as the lights go out, and they light up on each side of the entrance. The Undertaker's entrance starts up to get a big pop. Out comes the Demon Kane, and the Undertaker, the dead man. We get a look back at Brothers of Destruction going at it with the Wyatt family from Raw from England last week. The Druids surrounded the ring, and the lights are kept low as the fans chant for Taker. Taker says, "The true army of darkness stands before us." He says, "Vengeance awaits the Wyatt family who tried to claim their souls." Taker says, "There is no man, living or dead, that can tame the power of the dark side." Kane says, "When you try to steal the flames of hell, you will get burned." Kane says that they have reserved a special place for the Wyatts at Survivor Series, the deepest pits of hell, a place where they will suffer in the fires of eternal damnation. Taker says Wyatt's kind of evil is no match for theirs. Taker says that their evil has been time tested over and over again. Taker says Wyatt can pick the two he wishes to sacrifice because the Brothers of Destruction have already decided their destiny and they will never rest in peace. The Wyatt's graphic flashes as Bray Wyatt makes his way out with Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, and Braun Strowman. Wyatt takes a seat in his rocking chair on the ramp. He talks about how Taker has dominated and instilled fear for 25 years. Wyatt says 25 years is long enough, and it's time for a new army of darkness to emerge. His army. He says that the Brothers of Destruction no longer control fate. That privilege is reserved for Wyatt. He says he's the face of fear, and after Survivor Series, they will just be remembered as the brothers that Wyatt destroyed. Wyatt makes the thunder come and says Taker's creatures of the night are his. The graphic then flashes again, and now the lights are on. All of the Druids at ringside are wearing sheep masks. Wyatt laughs and tells them to run. And they hit the ring. Taker and Kane fight them all off. Don't take but 5 or 10 seconds. Taker and Kane grab 2 remaining Druids and chokeslam them simultaneously while looking at the Wyatts. Wyatt sends Rowan, Harper, and Strowman down the ramp but stops them. Wyatt says their date with Destiny is on Sunday, but until then, Taker and Kane can follow the buzzards. We'll get a graphic for Owens versus Neville before going to a commercial break. And that match is up next. Back from the break, out comes Neville to a big pop. Intercontinental Champion Kevin Owens was out next. Back and forth to start. Owens comes out on the corner with a headlock. Neville comes back goes for an early red arrow. Owens goes to the floor to escape, and Neville nails a moonsault on him outside the ring. Neville then brings it back in the ring for a 2 count as we go to commercial. Back for the break. Owens nails a big clothesline for a 2 count. During the break, Owens destroys Neville on the floor. They come back in the ring and Neville fights back. Neville blocked a suplex with a knee to the head. Neville unloaded on Owens. Owens backdropped Neville to the apron and super kicked him to the floor. Owens yells at the referee to start counting. Neville barely makes it in at 9 as Owens is upset. Owens drops Neville over his knee and hits the running senton for a 2 count. Owens yells at the referee again. Owens charges in the corner, but Neville sidesteps and hits a snap German suplex. Neville comes off the second rope for a close 2 count. Neville then goes up for the red arrow, but lands on his feet as Owens charges. Neville nails the super kick and goes back up top for the red arrow, but Owens gets up and knocks him off the top. Sends him upside down for the Tree of Woe. Neville blocks the pop-up powerbomb. Hits Owens before dropping him on his neck with a backwards Hurricane Rana for a close 2 count. Neville goes back up top and lands on his feet again. Owens catches him with a big pop-up powerbomb for the win out of nowhere. Owens advances to the finals. Semifinals, I should say. After the match, Owens grabs his belt. Then we go to replays. Owens stops and looks at the world title. As we get a look at the brackets, Owens will face the winner of the Ziggler versus Ambrose. That's later on in the show. Also still to come, Colosso versus Del Rio and Reigns versus Cesaro. Back from the break, we get Kevin Owens talking to Triple H backstage. We can't hear him, but they shake hands. Then the announcers then talk about Seth Rollins' injury and surgery, noting he will be out for 6 to 9 months. Tyler Breeze versus R-Truth was up next. We go to the ring. Out comes Tyler Breeze with Summer Rae. Back to commercial. Back from the break, we get R-Truth entrance. They lock up and go to the corner. Breeze turns Truth around and misses a cheap shot. Truth backs off and hits the what's up from the crowd. Truth with a takedown, a slam, and some dancing before he hits a leg drop for a 2 count. Breeze looks ready to make a comeback, but Truth isn't having it. Summer applies some lip balm to Breeze as the fans boo. Truth comes back over, but Breeze turns it around in the corner and unloads. Breeze with a single leg crab now. Truth gets to the bottom rope, but Breeze keeps it locked in for a 5 count. But it got a 4 count, but the referee stopped at the 4 count. Truth makes a comeback and unloaded on Breeze. Truth hits a scissor kick for a close 2 count. Breeze ended up hitting a beauty shot, which is almost the same thing as Truth's spinning kick, for more like an insecurity kick for the win. After the match, Summer comes in to celebrate with Breeze as we go to replay. Still to come, segment Ziggler versus Ambrose back to commercial. Then we get that match up next. Back from the break, Ziggler's out first. Ambrose was out next to a big pop. Lots of back and forth to start. Then we see Kevin Owens watching backstage. Ziggler gets a roll up for a 2 count. Ambrose with a headlock. Ambrose avoids a big super kick, and Ziggler gives him props. They lock up again, and Ambrose takes Ziggler down with a headlock. Ambrose ends up clotheslining Ziggler to the floor to a pop from the crowd. Ambrose goes to dive out, but Ziggler moves, and Ambrose catches himself. They come back in, and Ziggler takes Ambrose down and tries to make him tap. Ziggler ends up hitting a big drop kick for a 2 count. Ambrose catches Ziggler in a backbreaker for a 2 count. Ambrose with a single leg crab. Ambrose keeps control and goes to the top for a big elbow drop. Ziggler rolls through for a 2 count. Ziggler gets a super apply, but Ambrose forced to break the hold. Forces the break. More back and forth with pin attempts. They collide in midair and both go down. They fight out on the top, and they both fall to the floor as they simultaneously hit each other with right hands. Then we go to commercial break. Perfect for that commercial break. Back from the break, Ambrose nails a big dive out onto Ziggler. Ambrose then rolls him back in and charges with a forearm in the corner. Ziggler blocks the bulldog and hits the drop kick. Ziggler blocks a big bounce back clothesline and hits a famouser for a 2 count. And we see Owens backstage again watching. Ambrose blocks the neck breaker with a backslide for a 2 count. Ziggler with a big DDT for a 2. Ambrose catches the sweet chin music and sends Ziggler into the corner for a 2 count. More back and forth as Ambrose applies a sleeper hold, but Ziggler breaks it. Ambrose with a huge clothesline for a 2 count. They end up on the top. And Ziggler brings Ambrose face first into to the mat. Ambrose rolls to the floor as Ziggler sells a knee injury. Ziggler brings it back in the ring, and Ambrose super kicks him for a 2 count. Ziggler with a super kick for another 2 count. They get up and trade shots in the middle of the ring. Ambrose unloads, and Ziggler headbutts him. More back and forth until Ambrose nails dirty deeds for the win. And Ambrose advances. And so we get Owens versus Ambrose at Survivor Series in the semis for the semifinals on Sunday. Ambrose takes the mic and says he's going to turn the place upside down and throw all the rules out the window when he wins that Survivor Series. More action, less talking, and more pyro, other crazy stuff, as he says. And he's turning WWE into the Ambrose Asylum to finish off his promo. We get a look at the Divas Revolution storyline kicking off several months ago, still to come tonight. Paige and Charlotte will have a contract signing. Back to commercial. New Day versus the Usos and Ryback. Back from the break, out comes tag team champions Kofi Kingston, Big E, and Xavier Woods. Woods is tired of hearing about 25 years of The Undertaker. More important is the 1-year anniversary of the debut of the WWE's most entertaining group ever, the New Day. They start knocking the Usos, and then they chant, "New Day rocks," until the Usos interrupt with their entrance. They mocked them with the ooh. Talking about Jey Uso's injury. Ooh's out! Several times. Well, like I said, Ryback was out next as we go to commercial. Back from the break, Woods starts things off with Jey Uso. The Usos come in, and Jey ends up hitting a dive out onto Big E and Woods. They come back in as Woods takes control. They keep Jey in their corner and stop away while making quick tags. Woods with a trombone action in Jey's face while Big E dances on the apron. Jey looks to make a tag, but Kofi drop kicks him and talks trash. Big E comes back in and hits a running splash for a 2 count. Big E with an abdominal stretch. New Day keeps control as Ryback waits for a tag. Ryback gets frustrated and comes in anyways, getting disqualified after pushing the referee. Ryback and Usos unload on the New Day and celebrate after taking them out. We get more hype for tonight's Divas contract signing. And back from a commercial break, Triple H is talking with Cesaro to hype him for tonight's tournament match. Triple H says Cesaro has what it takes, but he needs a little something. Triple H believes that this may be Cesaro's time to grab the brass ring and prove he's the man. Triple H says he will be watching tonight from his own personal Cesaro section. Triple H tells Cesaro to take the extra step and will be willing to do whatever it takes. Triple H goes on and wishes Cesaro good luck before walking off. Next, we get Cesaro versus Roman Reigns for the next tournament match. We go to the ring. Out comes Roman through the crowd. Reigns asks if the Roman Empire is in the house tonight. He talks about the long road here, and he says he hit a big detour due to the Seth Rollins injury. He talks about turning down Triple H's offer last week and says he will never sell out. Reigns goes on and says this ride ends with him being World Heavyweight Champion. Back to commercial. Then when we come back, we get Cesaro entrance. They lock up to start the match. Back and forth, Cesaro with head scissors, but Roman powers out. They lock up again, and Cesaro applies a headlock. More back and forth. Cesaro with pin attempt and a counter out of the corner with a cartwheel. Cesaro then takes Roman down with a headlock. Roman eventually catches Cesaro with a tilt-a-whirl slam for a 2 count. Cesaro ducks a clothesline and hits a big flying uppercut. Cesaro goes for the swing, but Reigns blocks it. Reigns charges, but hits the ring post shoulder first. Cesaro drives Reigns into the post as he falls out to the floor. Cesaro goes to the floor and hits a big uppercut for a 2 count as we go to another commercial. Back from the commercial, and Reigns drops Cesaro with a big boot on the floor. Reigns brings it back in the ring and kicks Cesaro a few times. Reigns with a big clothesline. Reigns runs into an uppercut. Cesaro with another uppercut, and then one in the corner. Then Cesaro goes for another one, but runs into a right hand. He comes back and takes another punch. Reigns with a clothesline in the corner. Now is Cesaro with more uppercuts. Reigns with a big clothesline and a slam. Cesaro avoids the drive-by and pulls Reigns in for the Cesaro swing. Cesaro goes for the sharpshooter and locks it in. Reigns crawls, but Cesaro turns it into a crossface and pulls Reigns to the middle of the ring. Reigns powers this into a Samoan drop for a 2 count. Cesaro gets dumped to the floor and his elbow hits the apron hard. Reigns runs around and with a drive-by as the fans boo. Reigns brings it back in the ring and hits a big clothesline. Reigns with more big elbows in the corner, more back and forth action as Reigns with a powerbomb for a 2 count. Cesaro goes on and hits an uppercut for a close 2 count after countering a Superman punch. Fans chant, "This is awesome now." Reigns finally connects with a Superman punch as fans boo, knocking Cesaro off the top. Reigns calls for a spear to bigger boos. Reigns runs into an uppercut. Reigns blocks the neutralizer. Cesaro with a close 2 count off the backslide. Reigns with a Superman punch and a spear for the win. And Reigns advances to the semis. After the match goes to replays as Reigns celebrates, we see Reigns looking at the World Heavyweight title as this music plays. Still to come segment, the Divas contract signing about the commercial. Back from the break. Announcers remember WWE Hall of Famer Nick Bockwinkle, who passed away at the age of 80 on Saturday. The Ascension versus the Dudley Boys. We go to the ring, and the Ascension waits as the Dudley Boys come out next. This match I didn't get to see myself, so I'm going to the results on this. I do have a recording. I'll watch it later. Since it was so boring, I fell asleep during this part of it. Bubba Ray Dudley started off with victory as the fans chant for the tables already. Bubba with a nice throw and a clothesline. Bubba kept control and sent Victor to the floor. Connor tagged in and dropped to Bubba with a big boot to the face. Victor and Connor kept Bubba down with tags. Connor talks trash to Devon and Bubba slams him. Devon finally gets a tag and unloads. Devon with a 2 count on Victor and Connor breaks it up. Devon sends Connor to the floor as they hit the 3D on Victor for the win. Renee Young backstage with Zeb Coulter and the United States Champion Alberto Del Rio. Again, they're still asleep since Raw was so boring. Zeb talked about Del Rio winning tonight and going on to win the Survivor Series, and then Triple H walks up and shakes Del Rio's hand and talks about Del Rio can go from being a man over the people to just a man. When we go to commercial, Calista versus Alberto Del Rio is next after commercial break. First out comes Calista. Then we see a video from earlier where Calista talks about how his win over Ryback wasn't a fluke and how he's fighting even harder to live his dream as the World Heavyweight Champion. His music hits, and out next comes Zeb Coulter with the U.S. Champion Del Rio. As Del Rio took early control for a quick pin attempt, Calista fought back, but Del Rio cut him off. Calista countered a backbreaker, and Del Rio got sent to the floor. Calista with her Hurricanrana from the apron. Calista gets a lucha chant from the crowd going. As we go to commercial, back from the break, Del Rio is still in control. Del Rio with a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker and a 2 count. More offense from Del Rio as the fans boo. Del Rio kept Calista grounded and wears him down. Calista gets up and fights back with kicks. Del Rio cut him off and applied the backstabber. Del Rio was stomped and kicked. While Callisto turned upside down in the corner. Del Rio charges and hits the ring post when Callisto moves. Callisto goes up top for a plancha. Callisto with a corkscrew off the ropes. Callisto with kicks. Del Rio drops him with her big right hand. More back and forth as Callisto slams Del Rio's face into the mat with a scissor. 2 count for Callisto. Del Rio counters Salida del Sol and turns Callisto upside down in the corner again. Del Rio with kicks. It goes up to the top. And this is where I woke up and saw the finish. With a big stomp, but Callisto kicks him and fights out. Callisto goes up top with Del Rio for her Hurricanrana, but Del Rio countered it. Callisto ends up upside down. Kind of like the Tree of Woe. The corner again. Del Rio hits the stop for the win. Del Rio advances to the semis. After the match, Del Rio looked at the World Heavyweight title as we go to replays and announces hype. WWE Network. So to come, Divas contract signing for your main event. Michael Cole saw in the ring for your main event segment. Contract signing for the Survivor Series. Cole introduces Paige and out she comes. Charlotte was out next. They both have words as Charlotte gets a pop for calling herself a Carolina girl. Charlotte gets emotional when talking about their families putting wrestling first as kids. She brings up her late brother Reed and how Paige was there for her when he passed. Charlotte had a tough time for a second as she started crying before getting fired back up. Paige talked about how this isn't high school and asked if Charlotte is going to cry some more. Charlotte says Team PCB was going to change the Divas division until Paige's selfishness got in the way. Charlotte yelled about how Paige isn't a champion. She's not a role model, not someone little girls want to be like. Charlotte says she won't be a champion forever, but she won't lose the title this Sunday, and she won't lose it to someone like Paige. Paige mocks her speech and calls her naive and embarrassing. Paige goes to leave, and Coleslaw reminds them of the contract. Paige says no. One will have Charlotte's back on Sunday. Not even Daddy Ric Flair. By the way, where is Ric Flair? She says. She rips into Flair and calls him an old fart. And Charlotte threatens her. Charlotte talks about how she will be keep fighting like her family does, like her dad did and like her brother did. Paige said she's wrong because her little brother didn't have much fight in him, and that sat out a brawl. Bad move there. They didn't have to say that to make the segment. Charlotte leaped over the table and attacked her. They brawled around ringside, so there was no assigning for the match. Officials are trying to separate them, but Charlotte is going crazy. They go back in the ring, and Paige finally is able to retreat up the ramp. The referees have to hold Charlotte back. Paige yells for Charlotte to come on as Charlotte's music plays, and she stares back at Paige. Raw goes off the air. After Raw went off the air tonight, Bray Wyatt came out and cut a promo calling out Roman Reigns, who advanced in the WWE title tournament tonight. This led to the dark match main event, which featured the Wyatt family versus Roman Reigns, Cesaro, Dolph Ziggler, and Dean Ambrose in an 8-man tag match. The finish of the match saw all of the wrestlers brawl to the back, leaving Reigns and Ambrose in the ring together. Ambrose grabbed the mic and said he and Reigns will win their semifinal matches at Survivor Series on Sunday and go on to battle each other in the finals of the WWE title tournament. Ambrose closed the show by saying, no matter what happens on Sunday night, him and Reigns will always be brothers. And that concludes my video for Raw and Superstars. Thanks again. Peace out. See you when I want to be. And by the way, if you don't know, just call me, bro.